Shalom. No sooner do we finish Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, do we pivot as Jews and begin the holiday of Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. The holiday of Sukkot starts just a few days after Yom Kippur. For us, it will be this coming Sunday night. This holiday is characterized by many unique traditions and mitzvot, including the dwelling in a sukkah, a temporary hut, a dwelling with flimsy walls and a roof of branches that we construct in keeping with the commandment found in the Torah, in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 42 and 43, where it says, "In booths you are to dwell for 7 days, so that your generations will know that I caused the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I took them from the land of Egypt." The rabbis argue over what is the reason that we build these booths. What do they symbolize? Rabbi Eliezer in the Talmud says that these Sukkot serve as a reminder of God and how his cloud of glory surrounded the Israelites as they traveled for 40 years in the wilderness on the way to the Promised Land. They built and sat in the sukkah, but were protected by God. And we build and sit in a sukkah to remind us that while this structure offered protection to our ancestors, it was really God who ultimately was the roof and the security for the Jewish people, always keeping them safe. A sukkah then reminds us, according to Rabbi Eliezer, trust God. Rabbi Akiva disagrees. He says a sukkah is just a hut. It reminds us of what our ancestors used to protect themselves while in the desert. Nothing more, nothing less. I've always liked Rabbi Eliezer's approach that the sukkah is all about God. But I'm warming up to Rabbi Akiva. The sukkah is just a hut, a reminder of how our ancestors lived as a people with a very fragile existence. Walls that could collapse with a strong wind, a roof that wouldn't protect much from rain, and a world where you never knew where you might be month to month. It was just a hut, but a reminder of how we lived and how that often is the reality for too many. Jews have always been in the forefront of liberation movements because we remember we were slaves in Egypt. But maybe Sukkot reminds us that we also need to be leaders in being there for those who face homelessness and who live precarious lives every day around the world. Rabbi Eliezer focuses on the glory our people found in trusting God. Rabbi Akiva emphasizes the importance of how our people lived, and maybe to remind us that so many put their hopes in us, people who live in a sukkah of insecurity every day need us to be their guardians. This Sukkot, I ask each of you, if you'd like, to join us in our community's Sukkot and experience what Rabbi Eliezer speaks of, dwelling in a hut under the divine protection of God. And this Sukkot, I also ask you to join us and remember Rabbi Akiva. A sukkah is just a hut built long ago, but for many it is existence today. May we remember on Sukkot to give to a local shelter and act as God did and be a constant protection to the most vulnerable. I wish you all a Chag Sameach, a happy holiday, and a Shabbat Shalom.